What's up everyone, Aaron James Nahara here with the Light Den Academy. Today I want to talk to you all about Nikon's newest camera, the Nikon Z F, which is Nikon's newest retro-inspired full-frame mirrorless powerhouse. Wow, that was a lot of words right there. But this camera has been highly anticipated by a lot of Nikon enthusiasts, including myself. This camera features key specs not only from the Z9 and other Z bodies, but it also introduces new camera technology such as focus point vibration reduction. We'll chat about that later. In the past, Nikon has produced several cameras that have current and modern camera tech while mimicking the iconic look and color scheme of the legendary Nikon F cameras. First was the Nikon DF, released in 2013. This was a 16 megapixel full frame DSLR camera that included much of the powerful camera tech that came with the Nikon D4. Next was the Nikon Z FC, which was released in 2021. This was a 21 megapixel crop sensor mirrorless camera featuring a lot of the newer Z mount camera technology, including 200 plus focus points, electronic viewfinder, touchscreen, Vari-Angle LCD screen, and USB-C charging. Ever since the release of the Z FC, Nikon fans have been begging for a retro styled full frame camera that features all of the newest mirrorless camera tech. So let's quickly go over the features of the new Nikon Z FC. First off, the Z F features a 24.5 megapixel backside illuminated CMOS sensor. I know you might be thinking, we need more megapixels, but do we really? Nikon has always been on the conservative side when it comes to megapixel numbers, and I'm not surprised by this. I use the Z6 II full time for my professional workhorse, and it has the same 24 megapixel sensor. It's amazing. It feels like such a good balance between file size and image quality, especially compared to the Z8 and the Z9. The Z F is also equipped with the Expeed 7 processor. You'll also find this in the Z9 and the Z8. This processor enhances camera response time, burst speed, and autofocus performance. What's more is that the additional processing power from the Expeed 7 in combination with the backside illuminated sensor improves the low light performance. So for those who have the Z6 II, we're used to the 100 to 51,200 range. The Nikon Z F is going to give you an ISO range of 100 to 64,000. In challenging light, even fine details and textures come out sharp with clear and rich saturation, while the midtones come out much cleaner in regards to noise than before. Next, the Z F boasts an autofocusing system that offers 3D tracking that has the same deep learning technology found in the Z9, being able to detect and lock onto 9 different types of subjects. Similarly, the camera can detect people, dogs, cats, birds, cars, motorcycles, bicycles, trains, and planes. The Z F finds itself sandwiched between the Z6 II and the Z9 with 299 autofocus points. The Z6 II has 273, while the Z9 has 493. The autofocus system uses all 299 autofocus points in auto area AF, covering about 96% of the horizontal axis of the frame, making it easier to lock on and track a subject, even if that subject is near the edge of the viewfinder. The Z F can capture raw bursts up to 14 frames per second. If you need something faster, then you can switch it to C30 mode, which will capture images in 30 frames per second, but in JPEG format only. The Z F also carries over the flagship feature called pre-release capture, which buffers images before the shutter is fully depressed. Interestingly enough, the Z F is the very first Nikon full frame camera that has a Vari-Angle LCD screen. Now, I prefer the tilting Z6 II screen. I like the screen on the Z8 and the Z9. It's just less work to have to pull the LCD screen out to be able to tilt it up and down. But when I did have the Z30 and the ZFC, I did quite enjoy being able to monitor myself pulling out that Vari-Angle LCD screen and pointing it at you. I think a lot of Nikon users are going to be happy with the ZFC's Vari-Angle display. Another feature that the ZFC carries over from the flagship cameras is Starlight View. Basically, this feature, when enabled, boosts display brightness for users to visually confirm composition in extremely dark scenes. It also achieves sharp focus with low light limit extendable down to -10 stops. which is even better than the Z9 and the Z8. I was blown away by when I was unboxing the Z8 on a live stream a couple months back. I have a picture of my wife taped to my little camera stand right here, and it's like a small little graduation picture. And I turned off all the lights in my room and I set the camera in Starlight view, and it was able to find my wife's face and focus on the eye on this little small picture. I was like completely blown away. So that's really cool. Now let's talk about the ZF video capabilities. The ZF is capable of recording in 4K 60, but it'll be cropped. It can also shoot 4K 30 uncropped. The camera is also capable of recording 1080p at about 125 minutes continuous recording in different frame rates all the way up to 120p. This is also the very first Nikon camera that allows video recording in shutter priority mode, which allows the user to select the shutter speed while the camera adjusts the aperture in ISO. I think this is a really cool feature, especially for those creators like myself who just want to be on the go and record and vlog while not messing with all the settings. All you have to do is just select your shutter speed and then the camera will adjust itself. So that's awesome. In camera, the ZF captures 10-bit H.265 recording, allowing users to record a full-scale video directly to the camera without needing an external recorder. The ZF achieves 5-axis in-camera vibration reduction image stabilization equivalent to an 8-stop increase in shutter speed, the best among Nikon Z series cameras. The ZF is also the world's first camera to support focus point vibration reduction, which basically minimizes blurring at the focus point rather than at the center of the frame, even when the subject is positioned near the edge of the viewfinder. Let's talk about a couple more new features that the Nikon ZF brings to the Z series of cameras. First up is Touch FN or Touch function. Now this was introduced in the Nikon D5500 camera. Basically, it allows the users to adjust the focus and other camera settings by sliding your finger across the LCD screen while you're framing your pictures in the viewfinder. Next, the Nikon ZF becomes the very first Nikon camera to introduce pixel shift shooting, which allows users to capture 96 megapixel images. This system works by subtly shifting the image sensor position when capturing between 4, 8, 16, or 32 raw files, acquiring more accurate color and massive resolution. The camera comes equipped with 2 memory card slots, the first slot for a regular SD card, the second slot for a micro SD card. Now, this is where you're gonna see the difference between professional bodies and consumer focused bodies. The professional bodies like the Z9, you can be able to use 2 XQD cards, while the Z6 II and the Z8 both use 1 XQD card and a regular SD card. Now, the micro SD card is probably more capable than you think. I was able to find micro SD cards with write speeds up to 250 megabytes per second, which is faster than the SD card that I use when I go shoot weddings and things like that. So another good thing about the micro SD cards is that they are much cheaper than XQD cards and SD. So I think a lot of people will be happy with the choice of going with micro SD for a backup option. Lastly, let's talk about the construction of the ZF. The ZF is constructed with a magnesium alloy on the front and top covers for maximum durability with minimal weight. The camera is engineered with high dust and drip resistance with an effective sealing on the exterior cover joints, shutter release button, and the vari-angle mechanism. Wow, that's a lot of firsts for the Nikon ZF. I think I counted about like 5 or 6 things that this camera does and takes from like the Z8, the Z9, and from the D5500, and just combines all those features into just a powerhouse of a camera body. Now, I think if you have a Z6 II like me and you're patiently waiting for the Z6 III or whatever iteration that'll be, the ZF is an exciting camera to potentially add to your toolkit. I think all the features like the deep learning autofocusing system or the Expeed 7, as well as all the newer features that it adds in, this is probably gonna be one of the best camera body releases, in my opinion, like over the last decade or half decade. This is a camera that people have been waiting for ever since Nikon came out with the DF. The ZFC was all right. I think for a DX camera crop sensor, it's great, but we have been waiting for the full frame retro design iteration, and it is finally here in the Nikon Z F. The Nikon Z F will be available mid-October 2023 at a retail price of $1,999.95 for the body only. In addition to the basic black body, it has 6 additional colors, which is Indigo Blue, Sepia Brown, Bordeaux Red, Sunset Orange, Moss Green, and Stone Gray. You can also bundle it with the retro-styled NIKKOR Z 40mm f2.0 lens for about $2,239.95. You can also bundle it with the NIKKOR Z 24 to 70mm f4 S-line lens for about $2,599.95. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am so freaking excited about this camera. I hope that Nikon would send me this camera so I can check it out and test it and review it. But let me know what you think. Comment down below and tell me what you think about the new Nikon Z F. Is it everything that you've been waiting for? Are you thinking about picking it up? Also, make sure to like this video. You'll get more of my videos and content on your YouTube feed, and I would greatly appreciate that. And lastly, if you want to become a member to this channel and support me financially month to month, I would greatly appreciate that. Other than that, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.